Okay, gentlemen. So today, this is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to give you a little background. I was enjoying my holiday. This was the night. What do you call that? New Year's Eve. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I get a phone call from Josh Pimbleton. We interviewed him before on our show.
Pimbleton.
Yeah. He
Okay.
owns Bravo 6 out in the foothills here by 4th Ave Gym. Super awesome guy. He's a former Green Beret.
Wow.
Yeah, he's
Nice.
awesome. And so I get this phone call. I'm walking out the door to go to that, the block party that you guys were having for New Year's Eve, loading up my fireworks that
We got in trouble for.
that I got in trouble for, yeah, briefly. And I see Josh is calling me, and I'm like, that's, weird. So I answer immediately because I'm like, I need to make sure that everything's okay. And he's like, Adam, there's this really interesting guy that walked into my shop today, and he's been walking from the north of Canada all the way down to the bottom of the United States. And I just think he's got the craziest stories, and I thought he'd be awesome for your podcast. Is there any way you could get him on? He's just passing through Yuma, and he came to my shop and picked some stuff up, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. From my understanding, it was like a 3-minute conversation. I'm on my way out the door. I felt like I wanted to do, Josh a favor, or not even do Josh a favor, but like, show that like I value our relationship and I want to drop everything and do this for you. I'm going to introduce you to Marcus Jefferson. That's his name. And yeah, so anyway, that was it. He said, I don't know what time tomorrow because, it's New Year's Eve and, this guy, he walks everywhere. So he doesn't, I picked him up in my car. We're going to dinner. And then, I have to bring him back to the shop because that's where he walked into. That's where he stopped his steps that he's tracking for this journey, his mission that he's on. And so from the time he gets to my shop, it's probably gonna be maybe like 30, 45 minutes for him to walk to your studio. I'm like, okay, so let's meet at 10. Does that sound reasonable? Yeah. So we went on with our night. I went to the party with you guys, and then we left a little early before midnight because of the neighborhood not liking our fireworks. So we had to go to our property to shoot those off. And so there's a ton of teenagers that brought all these fireworks to our property to shoot them off. And I didn't want to be part of it. And I was just going to go to bed because I was tired,
Why didn't you want to be a part of it?
I don't know.
Sounds like your type of thing.
Well, I'd already done it, So I was just tired by this time. I'm like, but I was so anxious because I wasn't monitoring them. I was just hearing them, like rock the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I probably should stay up in case somebody blows their hand off or something like that. I got to run to the hospital. So I was just up. I was up till probably 1:32 in the morning just because the kids, doing their thing out there. And yeah, so got a couple hours of sleep, got up, drove over here to the studio to meet Marcus and Josh.
10 a.m.
Right,
Right?
10 a.m. Yeah,
Okay.
right on the dot probably. And for our viewers or our listeners, like we haven't been operating our business for probably 2 weeks at this point because no, a week and a half. We were off for Christmas and now it's New Year's, so we'd been closed the whole time. It's a ghost town, and so it's just me and so I bring Marcus in to the studio, bring him down, and then I'm like trying to get everything set up, but it's just myself, and it was, unannounced, kind of. It was like on a whim. So I'm like trying to get all the computer going, the monitors, the screens, the audio, and stuff like that, and we're chatting back and forth, I'm trying to ask him questions to get some ideas of what to ask him and stuff, and just get a story, as I'm working on things, and then I got the videos all set up, like the camera's all set up, and I'm working on the audio, which is finicky. And so I finally get it. And at the moment that I get the audio panel going, he's like, yeah. And he's telling me the story where he walked from Florida up, I think it was like the Georgia or something like that. And he shows me his phone, like he stands up, comes over, and he shows me his phone. And he's like showing me on Google Maps all the pinpoints where he's telling me this story. I'm like, And then, we get done with that, and I'm trying to get him out of here as quick as I can, not because of me, because I feel like I'm imposing on his journey, his mission of walking. He's still going over to the Pacific Coast in the name of, what was it, Martine? Oh, mental health. And so, yeah, that's the context, okay? Come to find out, we start chatting. It's really good conversation, going pretty good. And then about 35 minutes in, I have like this feeling in my gut that I pushed the record on the audio panel. And I'm like, I don't think I did. Because at the moment I was working on that, he showed me his phone and I'm like, yeah, I got distracted.
Yeah.
So I didn't push it. And I said, and I thought I could let him keep talking, and just like call it a wash or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like, nah, I should probably stop him and let him know, like, hey, I don't think it's recording. And so I did. He's like, oh man, like that's happened before. Like this is like the second time that's happened. I was doing an interview. I'm like, I'm so sorry, So anyway, I get up, I push the record button on the audio and I sit down. We've gone through 35 minutes of conversation. So now I can go like pretty laser focused on what I wanted to hit on, just get the highlights. What I wanted to do is get to his actual mission of why are you walking like all this distance? It just didn't make sense to me, I thought of Forrest Gump. The first thing I thought of was Forrest Gump when Josh told me about this guy. I'm like, okay, that's cool, I guess. But I wanted to get deep into that so that we could raise awareness for his cause, so people could donate money or something, whatever's going on, like help him out. That's what it was about. So anyway, we keep talking. Now I start the conversation again afresh, even though we've already talked about these things probably for 35 minutes. He's frustrated. I'm frustrated, but I push on. I forgot to tell you, going into this, I'm on my way out the door and my kids have a tournament later this day. This is on the holiday. This is on New Year's Day. And they needed to get up to Sholo, which is about 4 hours away. So I have got to take my kids in a few hours to Sholo. I have 3 wrestlers on the wrestling team. And so one of my nephews is flying into the airport and my wife Jessica is going to go pick him up. She needs to go pick him up so he can get to where we can get him to the bus to go to this wrestling meet, and she's wrecked because of the night before. So I'm thinking, okay, I need to help her in some way. And he's coming in at 11:30. And so I have an hour and a half kind of deadline with Marcus. So that's the context going into this. Okay. So what I want to do is we're going to watch the interview the second time around, and you are free to make commentary all you want. My understanding of Mark.
Watch the full portion, or do we stop it in between?
You can stop it if you want.
Okay.
Tom's got the keyboard over there. He can push the space bar.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm interested to see your guys' take on this.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so we're talking with Marcus Jefferson. Marcus, you've been doing this a long time where you're rucking across not only Canada, but the United States. You've made it to Yuma, Arizona with a mission to keep going. You're going to arrive to San Diego, I'm guessing?
Well, San Diego, I got to get to Honolulu. That'll be the most eastern point in America, right?
Yeah, so why? Why are you doing all this?
So I'm raising awareness for mental health. And, I wanted to make a difference within our communities. I'm trying to lead by example, showing good within our communities. And I wanted to share my testimony of faith, wanted to share my story, and try to break the stigma behind mental health.
So why mental health? Why is this such an important thing to you that you're like, I'm going to walk 27,000 kilometers to raise awareness for mental health?
Yeah, so I had my snap at 30, around 30. I had my own mental health crisis, didn't realize it was a real thing. And so, you're talking back from trauma, childhood abuse, all this kind of stuff. And I looked at everything and I'm like, man, I started thinking about what my parents had gone through, and then what their parents had gone through. So we have that generational curse that's passed down, one person to the next person to the next person.
Yeah.
So I wanted to try to get out there and show people like this is a real thing.
And so you grew up, I think I could say this, in a broken home, environment. Would that be accurate?
Correct. Yeah.
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 And you mentioned before that you grew up in a white house
Yeah.
and you were literally the black sheep in that white house
Legitimately the
because
black
your
sheep.
dad is black, your mom is white, but
Right.
your dad really wasn't in your life. Is that what you
No.
were saying?
Neither of them were in my life technically.
Either
If
them.
you think-
Oh, okay.
if-
Mom and dad.
Yeah, you don't have to be there physically to be there. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Yeah. So, yeah, grew up on my own.
Was religion in your house?
Never apart. No.
Really?
Yeah, never apart.
And so in school, what were you? I mean, this is in Canada, and you mentioned before that segregation laws really didn't go away until like 1984.
The last segregated school, I believe, in Canada was 1984. Yeah,
That's
so,
crazy.
Yeah, racism was a huge thing back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're the only black kid in this predominantly white school.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There was no other ones that I went to school with. They didn't show up until a little bit later on. Yeah. Yeah. I remember the first one that come in. I was like, oh my God. She was a girl too. I was like, oh, I picked my tray up. I went and sat by her, and that was more awkward than. Yeah.
Like, how
Yeah.
you doing,
Yeah.
dude?
Yeah.
Nice. Did you ever feel that though? Did you ever feel any tinges of racism, or did you not really notice anything growing up?
The first boat, yeah, was my teacher, Madame Parsons. Yeah. So when I was in Calgary, I had an all French school. Where I was at the section. So my first language was French. That's what I was taught.
Okay.
And then so when I switched from there to Kingsville, Ontario, I was put in the school and I had to learn English. And the class that I was failing was French.
Mm.
It was grade 5, somewhere around there. And that was the first time that I'll go on record and say first probably and the only time my mother ever defended me was she went to the school on a parent teacher night and was like, how's my son failing French? All his work is perfect. He brings it home. She's like, I'm not understanding. And the teacher didn't know that my first language was French. My work was actually better than hers.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that was my bout to understanding, like, the kids were hazing me a bit right around then, but I still didn't grasp the concept of racism and why I was in so much trouble all the time until that teacher. And that changed my life.
Wow.
Forever.
In what way?
Because that's an authoritative figure.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can't trust authority.
Oh, I see. So you had a chip on your shoulder, you would say, from then on.
That I didn't really realize yet. Yeah. So that took a lot of self-reflection to understand
Years
that.
later.
Yeah, because as a kid, you don't know that you're
Sure.
harboring that, right? So this
Mhm.
is that meant you're being molded at that point in time.
Mhm.
So yeah.
So how old were you when that happened? Ish.
I probably around 10,
10. Wow.
maybe around there.
Okay.
I think that's what.
So you still have a lot more school to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
You got 8 more years at least of school.
yeah. Oh,
And did it
man.
get any better from there?
No, it got worse.
Really?
Yeah. So from there, so grade 6 was fighting all the time with kids because now racism was a real thing, and it was taking on a lot of that. At the time, racism was big, and then so they switched me from. I was in so much trouble they wanted me out of the school, and then so they labeled me as the problem. So they put me in a behavioral educational program at
Oh,
another
wow.
school. Well, it's not all the other white kids that are making fun of you. You're the problem.
Yeah.
So now I'm in a class where kids are smashing their head off the desk, screaming, running around, and I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And then I missed an entire year in grade 7, so they put me back in my original grade. And then from there, I went into high school. I was strip searched
Wow.
and held captive in a room where one gay teacher, he's known, I can say names, right? Yeah, because it happened. Yeah.
Sure. Let it rip.
Yeah.
Nobody watches this.
Doesn't constitute legal advice.
I don't know. Quite honestly, I'm trying to take his story for face value. People remember things based on their perspective. Everybody has a different perspective, and so I'm trying to put myself in his shoes and just say, okay, it happened exactly as you said it. And so, in that sense, yeah, I think it would be because it's not his work that he's being graded on; it's his ethnicity.
Yeah, and I mean, if that's happening, it's obviously inappropriate. But, when he goes on, he talks about later in life. I think as he's getting into these fights, as he's saying, I'm like, obviously, if two parties, we see this all the time in court, are saying that this happened, the judge's job is to find the truth somewhere in the middle of their two stories. So you've got his story, which is, all these white kids are picking on me, and that's the cause of all of this, lashing out that I'm doing. Maybe their story is, this guy's picking fights with me, and he's not being the most nice kid either. I don't know. I don't know his history.
Mm-hmm.
But, to try to sit here, how old is he now? Is he
40
in his
or
40s?
I think so. I think
Yeah,
it's
so
about
try
40.
to sitting here 30 years later say who was actually at fault between two 10-year-old kids. I mean, it's pretty much impossible.
Yeah. But yeah, if what he's saying is 100% accurate objectively, which it can't be because he went through it, so he's going to be subjective to it, right? And his memory is based on his emotions and everything else that, kind of curves it as you go. But if what he's saying is 100% accurate, sure, that's racism, and he experienced it. I think we all get picked on for one reason or another that is not to do with our character, right? Not to do with our true intention. It has to do with some outward feature, and that is unjust. We just go through life with it. Racism, particularly, has been focused on in the United States because of slavery and the race issue that has plagued the country. But there are other things, like mental disabilities, like he's bringing up in Walking For now, or just looking different, being the redhead in the school, or being the only white kid in a maybe predominantly black or Hispanic school that might catch you off, or not having the right accent or anything like that. So it doesn't have to be race specifically. It can be any type of feature that kind of points you out.
Yeah, I think we're
Religion being one of them.
I think we're pretty tribal, as human beings. You congregate to whether or not you even know anybody, who you look like. I think there's some sort of innate safety that we think that there's there, even though that may not be the reality. It might be that you fit in with someone who doesn't look like you, but for some reason our inclination is not to go there for our first sweep. I mean, Sean, you do some stuff like some religion teaching at the prison here, and I've heard you mention stuff like that before as well.
Yeah, and within the prison system, they automatically, there's a pecking order.
There in the prison system here in the San Luis prison, it is specifically divided by race, and there are different facilities. So
The government does that, or they naturally do
it
that?
depends on the facility, actually. So there's 6 facilities out there at the San Luis prison, and some facilities are specific, like they will not put you with somebody of another race, and it would cause riots if they did. In other facilities, you can opt into being placed with somebody with another race. It's going to be a special circumstance. So the rule of thumb is you do not associate, or at least get bunked with, or put on the same floor as with somebody with a different race. It's racially segregated. And that's just the prison system. Now, that's not through the United States, is what I understand. There's prisoners that have been in prisons from the East, and they say that we're kind of stuck in this time warp where we're still back in the 60s here in Arizona and California. Mm-hmm. You would think that wouldn't be the case. You'd think in the East that would be, or the South especially, that would be more the case. But no, here in Arizona, California, there's a lot of racial issues, and books that I've read on it too reaffirm that this is true. But I mean, I go there. When I'm there personally, I don't see it happening, just because when you're in a social setting like a Sunday school class that I teach, they open up, and they're there specifically to kind of bridge that gap, but they acknowledge that it exists very specifically. Like, for example, if somebody were to get into a fight in the yard, and there was a Hispanic and a white person, and you were Hispanic and you did not join in and defend the Hispanic person, then you would be punished afterwards, and there would be a price to pay.
Interesting.
So.
Interesting.
All right, continue on here.
Bondi, and then I believe the other one was McDonald, where they trapped us in a room, locked the door. We bent over, spread our cheeks while they conducted a nice, thorough anal cavity search.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is at school?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, right in Ontario, Canada, Kingsville District High School, and so they did that, and that caused severe outrage, and then so I'm the only black, really one of 2 or 3 kids in the entire community that are black, and from there, so now I was labeled the cause to why kids got their stuff strip searched, right, and so the parents blame me. There was, went through that. They left me in that school, so.
You had to deal with that every day.
Yeah, so I was fighting, got real good at fighting and survival, and yeah, there's times where I thought I was gonna die.
Where's mom at this time? Like when you're going through this kind of stuff?
She was a waitress at the time. She must have taken a lot of flack too, because all the comments and stuff, and working in a diner in a small town, right? And so people are probably saying a lot of stuff. I just remember her being so disgusted in me.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think she got flack for having a relationship with your dad? She
Uh,
being white and him being black? Have you ever thought of that?
Yeah, so there's things, so I'll never know the truth, but the way what I was told was I was definitely an unwanted child, and she did tell me that, herself, like that, there was definitely that resentment there for that end. And I never got his side of the story, so I don't know. So
Yeah.
I'll never know the truth. So this is what we call the generational curse. Yeah.
Did your grandparents embrace you on your mom's side?
Oh, my grandmother was amazing. That was about the only person in my life that loved me. Yeah, I could say that actually truly loved me. So she passed away from breast cancer. So
Mm.
yeah. So high school was brutally rough, and yeah, it was a rough go in high school. Yeah,
But you made it through,
yeah,
barely.
barely.
Did you play sports or anything like that?
Played everything when I was allowed to be on the team. Played every sport. I was always good. I was always a stud with what I did. But I strived at mechanical. So I was a mechanic, and I learned I was rebuilding motors by the time I was like 14 years old. So I strived at that, got an OYAP program brought to the Kingsville District High School, and just, yeah, it was a struggle and a half getting through all this stuff. And so I ended up graduating a year early because I had done the OYAP program. It's a Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program. And but I just didn't have the proper guidance, and I got a scholarship to go to college for mechanics.
Very cool.
But nobody ever pushed me towards that. So I ended up taking college course for police foundations.
What do you think drove you at the time? It sounds like you kind of have this this underdog mentality that
Yeah.
you are at this time in your life determined to overcome. Nothing can get in your way.
Yeah.
And in fact, when something tries to, like authority figures, you're like, "Nuh-uh, I'm not going to let that happen."
Say it again. Yeah. Say it again. Yeah.
I would say what I hear you to say is like you were confronted with obstacle after obstacle.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was like not even self-imposed. It was just people getting in your way.
Yeah.
But you rose to the occasion. I'm asking, what was your mentality back then? It sounds to me like it was more like, you're not going to tell me what to do, or you can't, push me down. I'm going to rise above and show you.
Yeah. So I always had that willpower in me to want to succeed. And it wasn't because I wanted to show other people. That was just an internal fire that I just didn't realize. And it was just wanting to survive and keep going. Right? And you had been through so much in high school, and I just didn't want to give up, I guess.
Yeah.
So I had that never quit attitude, and I continued forward, and just, yeah, I didn't realize that I was always wanting to succeed. So, right. But I did label myself as a failure all the time. But
Oh, you did. So
yeah.
you're hard on yourself.
Super hard on myself.
It's hard not to be when everybody's telling you you're worthless, you're nothing.
Sure. Yeah. This is a normal thing.
Can we take a quick break and just? He is incredibly well spoken, right? He doesn't take unnecessary pauses. He doesn't use filler words. It seems like he doesn't have to struggle for the vocabulary that he needs to explain what he's trying to get out. I don't know where he got that. I don't know what his other background is. I suppose we're going to get there, but very well educated, if not socially integrated. So he's been able to accomplished quite a bit, regardless of his background. I wonder, did you find out what it was that helped him develop those skills?
No.
Because it seems like a social outcast might be a little bit more hesitant to be able to get to the right word or express the feeling. Maybe he's had a lot of interviews like this. Did you get the sense that a lot of people have approached him about his mission, and he's been somewhat of a star in his activism?
Not to my understanding. So my understanding was this is maybe the second podcast he's done, or maybe the first. He mentioned an interview before that he had, but it wasn't a podcast. It was I think for the newspaper or something.
Because he comes across like an actor almost, like posh, like very polished. He reminds me of some type of like a mix between Denzel Washington and Vin Diesel. Can you see that?
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
He's a handsome guy. He's well groomed. He's cut, fit, and well spoken. I would say that for being black, he's not. I wouldn't notice he's a black person if I were just to look at him. I wouldn't know what ethnicity he is. Obviously, he's not 100% white or what do we even call it, Caucasian. But he could pass for Mexican or maybe Middle Eastern,
I think Vin Diesel's a really accurate description.
right?
Yeah, when you think
Even his
about it.
voice.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we'll probably get into him. Are we gonna get into his like military career?
I think so. It's coming.
Oh,
naturally.
maybe that's.
I actually haven't seen this. So
Okay, I think
I mean,
that.
I did it, but I haven't seen it on film.
So I wanted to point that out, that's unique, that he's so well polished in how he speaks and how he holds himself. I mean, even just the way he sits there, and he's a handsome guy. So I'm thinking if I had the physical characteristics and even I don't think I have the polish and mannerism of speaking that he has. I'd have a big step up. I'd like to know what he did to get that. Number two, I grew up in northern Idaho, so I was next to the Canadian border. It was the opposite side of the United States. He was on the eastern coast and I was on the western coast. But we also only had one black kid in the school. And it wasn't because of segregation. It's just because there was one black family in northern Idaho, and there was one high school to go to, and so there you go. It wasn't because there was a black high school and a white high school, and that was the first person that we picked out of the black high school to integrate with the white high school like it happened in the South. It was, you just happened to be the only family that was black. Now, in our school, in our situation, that person was a girl. She was beautiful and very popular, probably the most popular in school. And I didn't hear anything from what he said about other black schools, and he was plucked out of one of those schools and integrated into this white school, and therefore ending segregation. He may have perceived it that way because he was the only black person, but it could have been just because of demographics, not anything to do with the policies of the school.
Yeah, and I don't think he was saying that it was a segregation situation for him because he was born after that ended, I think. Right?
He
He
said like 84.
84. I think he was born a little bit after, like maybe 1 or 2 years after segregation.
Surely
ended.
attended high school after it was done.
Yeah, I think it's more the situation you described. It just happened to be demographics in that particular town.
And even though it ends by law, it takes a while for, like you're saying, like social demographics to start to meld together.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, I wonder, because of his, unless there was a population of black individuals in the town that he was going to, and he was chosen to go to this school, and other people that, because of their race were not, then I don't think it had to do anything with segregation. It just, maybe that overtone flooded into the narrative a little bit, that this was racism, as opposed to this just happened to be a black kid in a white school and he felt out of place because he looks a little different. And they may have felt just out of place too. They may have felt a little bit intimidated because, like, I think I would feel intimidated in his presence. He's a very well-mannered, well-built, self-confident individual, and I don't think it would be considered racism for me to be self-conscious,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
just he's brings about that type of mannerism. Anyway,
Yeah, I'd be interested to know when he felt like he got that. Did he always have this personality where he's exuding this confidence, or does that come through his accomplishments? Maybe a little bit of both.
mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like there's some stuff you're born with that you really can't learn, and then there's other stuff that you can pick up, and then maybe some stuff in the middle where you have it in you, but it needs to be brought to the surface.
Sure.
So who knows? But maybe we'll get there. We'll keep going.
Right. But I guess that kind of builds that resiliency in you, and if you want to break or not.
Did you leave the house at some point because you just felt unwanted,
Um, hmm.
or were you forced to leave? What happened there?
Yeah, I don't know. If in order to understand that, I'd have to tell the entire story.
Okay.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, small bits like that, because this is just kind of like just hearsay stuff, I guess you can say. Like just from my own experiences, I would have to actually have a full on book to make it all make sense. But
Yeah. Suffice it to say,
yeah,
you left the house at about 14.
14. Yeah,
Where'd you go? I mean, if you're not going home every day.
14. I was in and out of the house, living in the park.
Wow.
Yeah, I had gotten a vehicle at one point, living in that, and then it was sporadic. Yeah, I was all over the place, and then
Really?
sometimes back in the house. And then yeah, it's a long story. My step parents broke up, and then
I see.
I ended up staying with my stepdad for a little bit, which he didn't like me, and maybe he felt like there was an obligation there because I had been with him since young, like 6 years old, right?
So
So
he was kind of like he was the father figure in your
he
life.
would be the only thing that I would know as a father figure, but yeah, so
Is grandma around at this time, or is
no,
she?
they're all up in
She
Chatham.
lives away.
Yeah, they're all in Chatham. Yeah,
too
so
bad. So
family
she
was all scattered all over.
She wasn't necessarily there to step in and help, huh?
No, unfortunately.
Physically.
Yeah, unfortunately, she was like the nucleus of the family, right?
Mhm.
That was when she died. The entire family just broke apart.
Mm, I see.
Yeah,
So you were able to make it through somehow. You got through high school.
yeah.
You got the scholarship. You went off to college.
I didn't take the scholarship. No,
Oh, you didn't?
no. So I
Okay.
got out of high school, and then working in the bars, odd jobs here and there, and then I ended up putting myself through college while I was living up in Windsor for Police Foundations, which is where I graduated with honors and distinctions. And then I was trying to get onto the police force, and I always lived that questionable life. I was always never in trouble, but like
On the fringe.
criminally, but I was always butting heads with the police and things
I
like
see.
that, or I was always
Yeah.
on their radar. It's hard not to be when you're the minority in the,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So
And so you
Yeah.
thought it'd be a good idea to go and become a policeman.
yeah, well, I had the sense of wanting to serve,
I see.
right? So I had so much bad happen to me as a kid, and all this abuse and stuff, and I just didn't want to ever see anybody get hurt like I did, and so I had this sense of wanting to protect all the time.
Yeah.
And what better way to do that by putting on a uniform that's meant to serve and protect, right?
Yeah. So you made it through that as well, huh?
Yeah.
With honors, I
Yeah.
believe, right?
Yeah.
So you graduate all that with honors. Then what happens? You try to get onto the police force somewhere?
Yeah, did a few things. Peel Regional was one, but they deemed me non-competitive. I had gotten onto the auxiliary with the OPP. Did that, and I was trying to do the military at the same time, but I screwed up the test. They were the circle sheets, so the answers and the questions, and I must have been one off on them all.
I see. I
Screwed
see.
that up, and then so I did that, and then I was just always bouncing around from job to job, and I just whatever. Maybe the universe was just always pulling me towards going into the Legion. I don't know what it was, but
Mhm.
I didn't get the chance to get on fully as a constable, and but I never gave up wanting to wear that uniform. I always wanted to be in the military.
Hmm.
It just didn't happen until I was older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that moment came around 30, early 30s.
34
Kinda hit
was
rock bottom. Is that what I understand?
yeah. 30 was when I hit rock bottom. Yeah.
Till then, you're bouncing around, kind of odd jobs here and there.
Yeah, working in the oil fields, mechanic, security, things like that. And then from 30 to 33 was my like downward spiral. And you could do a lot of damage in 3 years. Oh yeah, yeah.
But somehow you acquired a sweet vehicle, right? From
Oh,
those
yeah.
at this
I
time.
had always been in the cars. I had my Camaro, my 1980 Camaro, my Zed. So that was my pride and joy. I had
He
met
is
my
Vin
fiance
Diesel.
in that car.
Yeah,
I
I
built that
know,
car with
right.
my uncle. That was my passion in life was drag racing. That was my passion. So God will guide you into the things that you love and what you resonate with, and that was one of them, sports and that. And then so my Camaro, I had my WS6 Trans Am, was another baby of mine, and then my Corvette that I had gotten in Alberta, but I didn't realize I was a mental wreck, right? I never got to enjoy any of that stuff. Not like if I had it now, I would cherish that stuff, right?
But you said something that I didn't know before
Yeah.
when we were talking. You mentioned a fiance.
Yeah.
So there's a girl somewhere in your life. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All the time, huh?
Yeah. I always got the ones I wanted. It just took some time. I chased the fiance one for years and years, but you resonate what you are at the time. Yeah. So my energy I was attracting just not the good things, man.
Mhm.
Not the one I needed.
Yeah, sure.
So because I just wasn't who I needed at the time,
Mhm.
right? So, yeah. So I guess that's the French Foreign Legion story, right?
Yeah.
Turn me down, I'll sure the French Foreign Legion will welcome me with open arms.
There you go.
So yeah, God bless the Legion.
So you've got this awesome car,
Yeah.
but you're taking it around to car shows?
Yeah. So the Corvette was about the last thing that I loved, and I was really trying to get onto that. I injured myself in the gym. I was trying to make a comeback, trying to get my pro card, and then life was falling apart, and partying started moving into coping, right? And then so the car, it's like, man, what makes me feel good? So I started really had built my motor for my car in there and everything. And then I took it to a car show, and that's where I had my first come to Jesus moment, I guess you can say. And, that's where I met the pastor. He come out and he's like, you got a sweet ride. I'm like, yeah, it is pretty sweet. And he's like,
You're like, I know.
yeah, I'm like, yeah, no ego,
Duh.
no ego. And then he's like, man, I feel like you should come sit in the sermon. He's like, I feel like God's telling you that. And that's where I was really, really hesitant at the time. And I told him, I was like, I walk through those doors, Pastor, I'm gonna burn your church down. You don't want me going in there. And so I did. And my boys were just like, are you serious? And I come out of there, man, and my life changed. And
So something in that sermon. What's interesting to me is that you actually went though. Something
Yeah.
he said, something must have touched you
I
to the
think
extent of like
I think
maybe it was
I-
a challenge.
maybe it was a challenge, could have been a challenge, but maybe it was I think I knew where I was heading. And I already knew this. I was
Mhm.
searching for something, and I was searching it for immaterial things at the time. And God will work in weird ways, man.
Yeah.
He want you there. Some people you keep fighting him and he wants you to come.
Mhm.
Some people he'll send you to wherever. It's just,
Sure.
he'll bring you. Yeah. And then he got me at the car show. But I'm stubborn, and I continued to tear down my life until about 33. And that's when I decided to go to the Legion.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because you're pretty old at that time for military service. I mean,
Yeah.
Here-
You're an
here in
old
the
man
U-
for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
in the
34 years
US, I
old.
me're
Yeah.
typically going into like 18, 19.
Yeah, that's right.
right?
Yeah.
And you're viewed at 30, 33. You're like, it's too late.
Yeah.
You're an old dog at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, you're not, but
No, well, 33, I was an old dog because I wasn't trained. I was relying on my old,
your natural
natural
talents.
ability. Yeah, I didn't have to train for it. I was always naturally gifted in athletics. And so I relied on that the first time when I went to the Legion. I was like,
Mhm.
I'll be all right. I got this.
Mhm.
And I got there and I realized, I'm like, okay, drinking and drugs and 33 years of not taking care of myself. I'm like, and that's that little guy, that little French guy. I still say he was screwing with me, but I couldn't get those full 7 pull-ups. So at 34, I went between that year after my pity party, I was like full on training. And I showed up, and these guys, they thought I was like 20. Like they didn't know my age. And then, so I showed up there and I was just like, I'm doing 1-arm pull-ups. There's no way this guy's going to turn me down. So yeah, found myself there. running
And when you say
gunning.
you showed up there, like it wasn't just going down to your local recruiting center. That you had to go to France,
Yeah,
the
directly.
French
Yeah.
Foreign Legion.
Yeah, the first time was Fort de Nugent. So I showed up there and then didn't make it the first time. Second time was Marseille. And so the second time I'm like, I'm not letting these little recruiters, I'm going straight to, or it was Oban. I'm going straight to the main place. Like I want the main people to see me. And so I ran from Marseille to Oban with my 30-pound ruck, showed up at the door, and I was just like, let's get this on. All right. He's like, did you run here? Because I'm pouring sweat.
Yeah.
Pouring sweat. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, he showed that I was there before. And he's like, yeah. All right. It's like, how many pull-ups do you think you can do now? Like 15, 20, I don't know, something like that. And he looked and I was jacked, really jacked. And he's like, I believe you. Like, go sit over there. And I had taken pre-workout just before this. I'm like, what? Come on now. So yeah, so he got in there and I blew their testing away. Like, but before I had gone, I used the Canadian Pathfinders testing scores.
Okay.
So I wanted to score 100 on that before I went. And so I was in elite shape. And that's how you have to show up there. You have to be in elite shape.
Yeah.
Yeah. And mentally, I thought I was probably in the best place in my life mentally at the time, but still there was so much damage
A lot of baggage.
a lot of baggage. Yeah. I still took some of my old self with me.
I'm sure. I mean, that's natural, right?
Yeah. I wish I would have known that before I had gone.
So for our listeners that aren't familiar with the French Foreign Legion, it was a service that was created by who was it? Louis Philippe.
Yep.
In 1831-ish, around there, and he basically needed a place to put all these rapstallions, these guys that are just making a mess.
Yeah. So it was like the immigration. They were trying to figure out ways to keep the immigration working, and the ones that were causing trouble or whatever it might be, they were just like, we got to filter these guys somehow and make them useful within our country, because if they're not going to leave, so they offered them citizenship by blooding in.
Yeah.
So you can become citizen, blood in.
And my understanding was that originally it's like, we don't care what you've done in the past. We're going to take not anybody, but we don't care about your past.
Yeah.
We're going to ignore that.
Yeah.
And move forward.
Yeah, I guess it's a place for a second chance, but like in today's standards, they're not going to take you if you got like major drug charges,
Sure.
or you're like some child pedophile or something.
Yeah.
Like that. You're not coming. You're not getting in. We're trying to. They fight that stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, if you get into a tussle with someone and
in a bar or something.
Yeah, and and that sucks, because there's a lot of good men out in the world that are sitting in a prison cell somewhere because they screwed up, and now and then they fall victim into the system. And now we've just wasted someone that could be serving in our military. Let's face it, we got guys out there that maybe don't operate so well in civilian settings, but we want these guys fighting for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
We're really primitive people when you think about it. Like we come from where we come from.
Let's take up that point. What do you guys think? Are you the pro-Legion mentality, the French Foreign
Never
Legion?
even heard of it.
Okay. So, Adam, you explained it in the video, but it's a military service that previously was open. It was from France. They would have foreigners come in, and they weren't French citizens, but they wanted to be, or they had colored past where they needed to get away from something. So France would say, you can come be a part of this military group, which is a bunch of ragtag people, and they're tough, like tough dudes. And you serve for 5 years, and you're basically doing France's bidding, but you're not a French citizen, so you're getting all of these mission sets that are not what France wants to be known for doing. They're going to send these non-French
Dirty
people.
work.
The dirty work.
Yeah, want their name on.
Exactly. So you're doing that kind of stuff, and you serve for 5 years, and if you come out of it on the other end alive, you're rewarded with French citizenship. And then you can, come into France, and you've proven yourself, basically. So that's kind of what he's getting at, is we've got people in our jail systems who probably need a second chance, or you've got the immigration crisis that's happened over the last several years.
And he was able to do that in France because he has French as a first language, so he can speak French.
Well, even if you're not French native, you need to learn French.
That's what I'm saying.
through
But
your
he's
training.
got that in his pocket.
Yeah,
Like,
so that helped him.
if I wanted to do that at 30 years old, not having spoke a lick of French, it's like good luck. But
Yeah, well, people do it, I mean, historically all the time.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
because
okay.
like you're gonna get like you got to know French, and if you don't pick it up fast, you're gonna get hazed until you pick it up.
Okay.
So like that's the motivation. Like you better learn your French.
But so they're okay as far as me getting like matriculated into the system if I don't know French, but the guys that are there,
Yeah.
you know,
There's
they're gonna,
French classes that
Okay.
you're going into.
And is it only France that offers this, or has this become something more
I don't know any other country.
widely known?
Yeah, I don't know
any
of
other country
Okay.
that does it.
I think it's an awesome idea.
Yeah, I think because we do that today. Like in the Marine Corps, I knew a lot of Marines that were not citizens, and that's the reason they joined is a fast track to citizenship. After 2 years, I believe, they can start filing for their citizenship,
Yeah.
and so they become U.S. citizens before their contract's even up. And I knew a lot of great people from, Haiti, especially a lot of
Really?
Haitian Marines that would
Interesting.
come in and become citizens. Great
It's like
dudes,
it sounds like the hack, like the citizenship hack.
pretty
'Cause
much.
If you were to, let's say, you're a Mexican citizen, you go to Mexican university, you come into the Marine Corps as an officer, couldn't you?
No,
degree?
no, you need to be a citizen.
To be an officer.
Yeah, so
Even though I have a degree, it
right,
doesn't matter.
Doesn't
you got to
matter.
start at the bottom for the citizenship part.
yeah, so you would enlist, and that would be
Start from the bottom.
start from the bottom, and then we have a lot of pathways in the Marine Corps where you can move from enlisted to officer, but there's definitely you're not starting where you could have.
If you were a U.S. citizen going right in
Right.
with a degree.
But yeah, I like the idea. The Legion, I think, is a cool idea, especially you got a lot of illegal immigrants here that are probably very good people and or very useful to society. And like if you want a fast track in, I think that would be a great opportunity for them that I'd be willing to give them as a voter.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So this guy does this. What's the outcome? He does really well in these services.
Let's see. We recorded this, 4 weeks ago or something.
Okay.
So it's like, I don't remember.
So yeah, so it's a great way, and I think I'm pro Legion. I think there should be institutions put like that for a lot of places.
Yeah. Well,
Help
I
with the
mean,
transient.
so help me understand the jump from you've hit rock bottom in your early 30s, 30 to 33.
Yeah.
You've had a glimpse of what God can do in your life. You've felt that. He spoke to you in some way at a car show when you went to that service with the Baptist preacher. But yet you still kind of spiraled out of control. You hit rock bottom. How did you go from rock bottom to the French Foreign Legion? How did that connection happen? How did it even come into your...
So 30 to 33 was real rough, real rough, and then you're in and out of places all over, and then when you're living a life like that, it's chaotic. And I come about this one guy. He was like straight up just a skinhead, man, but a big one, like 6'5", 350 pounds, super big guy. And I knew him through a mutual friend through the gym, and he's just like, he liked me for some reason. He's like, man, Marcus, he's like, I feel like you should still do something. And so he turned me onto the Legion, and I started watching these videos, and I was still searching, thinking people are going to come rescue me and help me, and all the people that I wanted to do that were the ones really predominantly that had caused all the trauma in my life.
Are you talking about family members?
Yeah, just anybody, like any trusted or loved person that I thought should be coming to help me out wasn't coming. And
You feel like at that time, do you feel like you had succumbed to some sort of victim mentality?
oh, for sure, yeah, it's
It's not my fault. I'm where I'm at. It's
well,
everybody else's.
yeah. So like that was my come to Jesus moment, right? So when you start to reflect on your life, like I didn't realize I was such a victim, but I took accountability and ownership of my life before I went to the Legion, and that was before God, right? So I was just like, dude, if you're real, I need your help. I didn't grow up with you. I don't know you. So I need you to come save me, because what's going to happen here is on you. And so I'm like, so I'm telling him, like, this is what's happened to me as a kid on up. this is what's happened to me. Your world's sick type thing. That's where I was at.
Yeah.
Right. Mentally. I'm like, you're telling me, and you need to show me something because I don't want to live here anymore. And the phone rang, man. I was watching Will Smith. I was watching The Pursuit of Happiness.
Oh yeah.
I was watching that movie, and the phone rang, and I was like, oh my God. And it was a buddy of mine that I was trying to reach out for a long time ago. And he's like, man, you're going to come live with me. I was like, dude, I have a game plan. I'm like, I had this full on conversation with God, and he's just like, man, it's like, this is what the Bible's based on, dude. So, and then, but I also said, I said to God too, I said, I understand that didn't happen to me, but I also accept where I'm at. I'm like, this is my life. All that happened, and I made choices unknowingly from my conditions on up. I said, but I'm a shitbag loser. I'm a loser now, and I don't know how to get out of this. I don't know how to do anything. I don't know what to do anymore. So that was my come to Jesus moment, and yeah, it led me to the French Foreign Legion. Oh man, it's a wild story, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So you're getting pumped up to go to the Legion, and then you eventually get there. So you tried twice. The first time you had this little French guy that's like, you're not doing the push-ups right.
Yeah, we're gonna call him Peppy.
Peppy?
No, Jacques.
Okay, Jacques. Yeah. Did you ever see him again?
I never did see him again.
Is that right?
I still remember his little like beady eyes on me. Like he was like, yeah, I wrecked your life. I was like, no. At first he did.
Yeah.
Right. 'Cause he took that athletic thing from me, and now, but I didn't let that become my narrative. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I went to training to show it back up.
So the first time you tried to try out for the Legion, this guy, you feel like he raised the bar higher, probably, for you rather than all the other people. You feel like?
I think he just I think he put things into perspective for me, like where I had to start. I needed to look at my life a little bit more, like as in like shit, like my physical capability. This guy's saying is no good now, and
to that point, you're like, that's who I am.
That's who I am. That's what I was
Macho
always
guy.
good. And now I'm not good at sports now. Now I'm not good enough physically to get in somewhere. And then, so I threw a pity party. And then afterwards I was just like, no, that's not how I'm going out. No way. And then I started going into this like ridiculous training where I had come across Goggins. I started listening to Jocko. So I started reading Extreme Ownership, Can't Hurt Me. And I was listening to Rogan's podcast. So I started like working on my mind at the time, and really, because no one was showing me that. And my faith was starting to grow. I was praying more, starting to go to church. So I was working on my mind, body, and spirit. And then it ended up becoming to the point where it was just like a full on onslaught to beat this victim mentality in me and to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you got there, and then you come back second time around to the Legion tryout, let's say, and back to France to do this. And that time you show up, and that's what you're saying. Like when you showed up, you were jacked.
Did you want to do something on your phone?
I was gonna.
Because if it's not important, we're good to go.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't. I'm all about professionalism.
Oh no, sorry, my wife was calling. I'm like,
all right, so this is over.
Oh no, come on.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
We're good to go. Yeah, and anything I said, you can scratch off.
Oh no, Marcus.
Yeah,
no
worries.
sorry.
No, I work with professionals.
No, she was calling. I was trying to mute it.
Yeah, no worries, man.
That's it.
No worries. Yeah.
No, man, I'm so sorry
All
about
good,
that.
brother.
Yeah, no, I should just turn it off.
I give you my undivided attention. Yeah, so I only work with professionals, brother.
No, I know because the camera angle isn't on me.
Yeah, God bless.
Marcus, let me turn this off.
Yeah, no, it's all good, man. We're done.
Marcus, dude.
No, we're good.
I am so sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
She's calling, and I didn't want it to ring.
All good, brother. Yeah.
Well, let me get you over to Bravo 6.
Oh, it's all right. I'll walk it.
Marcus, man.
Yeah.
Seriously, I
good,
apologize.
Yeah, it's an insult.
I'm so sorry.
So for your next interviewer, give him your undivided attention, because to me, when you pick up a phone, that's showing that you don't care about people. So when I'm here, my phone wasn't put away. What's put away, right? It's all good. Can I explain to you?
It's all good, my man.
It's
Marcus, can I explain why?
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Can I explain to you why?
It's totally fine.
Can I though?
No
Please.
need to explain. No need to explain.
Marcus.
It's all good, man. All right. You have a good day. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
I'm bummed, man. I want to get into some more stuff.
Yeah, it's all right, my man.
Marcus, seriously?
You can listen to me on a bigger platform.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, let me walk you out. Well, what do you think?
That was probably the most entertaining thing I've ever seen on our show. If we could have that once a week, I think our audience would skyrocket. I think that was like the perfect office awkward moment. You know, that it's like you feel awkward even though you know the people are acting. And I knew this was coming up because you told me about it. But the awkwardness, how did you feel in that situation?
I mean, I felt like it was a little overboard. I was bummed. Like I said, I wasn't offended or anything like that. I was very surprised because I thought the interview was to that point. Have you guys? I mean, you guys have now seen it up to that point.
It was going great.
Okay, yeah, the
Interview was going great.
Yeah.
And you weren't interrupting his story. You weren't injecting whatever you wanted to, input. You were literally just letting him have as much slack as he wanted to tell his background. And for somebody that's committed enough to walk the United States, you would think he'd look for the opportunity to get that story out. Of course, he says we'll hear it on a bigger platform. I look forward to that. But he's already there mentally on some world stage, and he's doing you a favor as some peon in some small rural town in a basement studio. And that's not worth his time if you haven't shut off your phone well in advance and prepared mentally to have him in his star power come in and allow him to do that.
Yeah, I think I chalk it up to a mixture of expectations. Like, we know our audience here in Yuma, and we've got, a great setup, more than the average person, but we're not Joe Rogan. And I think maybe his expectation was, this is what I'm about to go do. So when you're on your phone, his perspective is this isn't professional, whereas from our perspective, it's like, no, like that's life. And he also doesn't have, like, from my understanding, that was your wife on the phone and you were expecting texts or phone calls and you had to be ready to receive that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I
Your
mean,
nephew's flying in town.
yeah, like the whole airport thing.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Right. And this was last minute, I was, yeah. So reflecting
not
back
like
on,
3 months or 4 months you guys had prepared for this
Right.
show, and he's coming to become a host, and he's got his docket booked, and you've got this 1 hour window of his time that he's allowed to come and be with you. It seems like that was the setup based on his reaction, but in reality, you've moved heaven and earth to be available for him.
yeah, I mean, as I thought about it, so but to answer your question, Sean, I was bummed because that was the point where I was just about to flip into why are you doing what you're doing? And I wanted to give more of a spotlight to his cause, whatever he's doing, walking all these miles for mental.
Have you found out since?
No, I mean, that was it. So I was like, I was really genuine about, I'm bummed that you don't want to continue because I wanted to. My goal of all of this was like, I dropped everything for this. I left my 6 kids at home, my wife on a holiday. I opened this up for you. And I'm thinking, I was really trying to just give you the limelight so that your cause can maybe get momentum or get money if you needed money. Cause I don't know how he's sustaining himself. He eats like protein bars is my understanding, 4 or 5 a day or something like that as he rucks across the United States. So, but he needs money to pay for those. And so I was like, if I can help a guy out, I want to do that. And I wanted to be a good friend to Josh as well. And so
Have you talked to Josh since?
no, well, I did so I walked him up and I let him out. I kept offering because Josh left him here, but in order for his mission to pick back up, he has to start walking where he stopped walking, which was at Josh's shop down the road a little bit. And so before we came into the studio, I was like, well, Marcus, you want me to just like drive you back to Josh's thing? That way, because Josh was going to come and pick him up and then take him back, and then he starts his walking from there.
Yeah, which is like 2 miles from here. So.
Yeah, so it's like inconvenient, for Josh. He was gonna be working the shop that day,
Yeah.
and so I was like, well, what if I just take him back? And I
Yeah.
kept offering, even all the way up the stairs to the thing, no, it's okay. I'm like, all right. So then I called Josh. I'm like, hey, this just happened. I apologize. I didn't mean to offend the guy. I'm really sorry. I didn't want to offend Josh. Josh is who I really care about, because I really like that.
But Josh has got, what, 1 day of knowing who this person is.
And he was apologizing profusely to me. Like, I'm so sorry. I've only known, I don't even know the guy. Like, he just came in. I'm like, Josh. Like, I am sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
It wasn't my intention. He's a great guy,
Seems like a great story, but yeah, I do think that chip on his shoulder is still quite a bit there.
Yeah. So I think a day later, it would have been the next day, because I was up at the tournament, the tournament up in Prescott at that time, like in the morning. And he's very active on Instagram. And I had followed him right before this, just so I could see, some context and ask him some relevant questions if I needed to. I'm not a journalist, I don't do this. This is like a hobby of ours. So I was like, well, I probably should know a little bit about what's going on here. And so I got an alert on Instagram, which I'm hardly on, of him posting a post. I'm like, I wonder what he's doing today, where he's at, how far he's made it down the road. He's like, well, my new year did not start out well. Had a horrible podcast. He's just like all that stuff. And I'm like, all right. So I just responded. I said something like, Marcus, you're a stud. Thank you for, gracing me with your presence, kind of thing,
Yeah.
Good luck with everything. I hope your mission goes well.
The podcast actually was great up until the last 30 seconds.
No, I think the last 30 seconds, honestly made the show. The podcast was good.
Yeah.
It's an interesting story,
Yeah.
but there's 1,000 of those.
Yeah, exactly.
What he did at the end, that was 1 in a million.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I was, physically, I felt embarrassed.
For me,
No, just for the whole situation. It was that awkward
secondhand
situation.
embarrassment.
It's like the director's dream, to capture that awkwardness
Yeah.
on film, so it projects through the TV screen to its audience.
Yeah.
And I felt it. So that was interesting.
I thought you handled it very well.
oh yeah,
I don't see any other way how you could handle it.
Right.
Let's say that it happened again. What would you do?
I would do the same thing.
What else could you do, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you could have, flown off the handle and say, look, you think your mission's so great. I opened up this office for you on a holiday to put you on your platform. You could have said all the things that you were thinking, after the fact.
Well, did you think? Oh,
I actually didn't think that.
you didn't think that at the point,
the
but
time.
now, what do you think? If you
Yeah,
had a
so-
chance to say it again and say, this guy's not going to be made right? He's not going to be made whole. He's not going to be, reconciled to your phone going off.
Yeah.
And so if you were just to say, listen, if you thought you had it rough and you accomplished some objective to overcome that rough spot in your life, you may want to stop for a moment and think you haven't quite got there, because this has just thrown you off your groove, and this is nothing. And if I had it to say, and if I had it planned in advance, I'd say something like that, because I think that's true. And not because I want to have the last word, not because I want to broadcast it, but because he's obviously trying to project to an audience that you can get through tough spots in your life, but he actually has not got there. He's fallen short of it, and that is unfortunate for him that he doesn't know that.
I think going back, that reminds me of our first conversation in this show, where you were talking about there's two sides to every story. I don't know what I sort of know what he had coming up to this. He had been walking for miles and miles. He's rucking probably 20 something miles a day with a 70-pound pack. So I don't know how much sleep he's getting. I don't, there's a lot coming into this. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's like, I understand it. The more I thought about it, I was like, to answer your question, as I was driving away, I was unsettled, obviously, because I felt really bad that I offended. That was not my intention. and we didn't leave well.
And obviously, when somebody accuses you of doing wrong, immediately it's like, okay, shoot, I did something wrong,
Yeah,
right?
was that inappropriate of me to do?
Yes. And in reality, you didn't do anything wrong, but you took for face value his accusation as being true, that you did something wrong that greatly offended someone, and it was your fault, when in reality, he was going to find something. It seemed like
Yes.
that was a ticking time bomb that was so well hidden, because he seemed so well poised. In fact, I had made the commentary about that, how well spoken and how well he was sat there. But I think he was just looking for a spot to flare out, and he needed some type of excuse, and you gave it to him.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. So what's interesting is when I went home and I told my kids about this, my 16-year-old son, he's like, it sounds like he was just looking for an excuse. And I was like, yeah, that nailed it right on the head, you know. That's, I think, really what it was, because this was our second take. I think that first thing where the audio jacked up really got under his skin, because he was a lot looser and better, I would say, the first time around.
Really? Because usually it's the second time, but okay.
Yeah. I was very, I'm leading him along, obviously. As I watch it now, I'm like, oh, I'm definitely leading him. I don't like that I did that, but at the same
But a
time,
good reporter that understands his subject does.
well, I was trying to pull him along. Let's get through the first part, in my mind, build foundation of, this is where you came from. This is what you've accomplished. Now, what are you doing? Like, what is this about? Trying to gain, recognition for what he's doing now and get him some money pouring in for his cause. That was my goal for part number 2, if you will.
Yeah.
It was just going to happen. Like literally, I was just going to go there. And so I was like, that sucks for you, kind of like this was the good part I was getting into, but he didn't know that.
Yeah.
So driving away, I'm thinking, because I'm talking to my wife on the phone, she's like, well, how did it go? I'm like, oh, not good. Like, he walked out on me. She's like, what? Yeah. Like, yeah, you called and he didn't like that, She's like, I'm so sorry. She's feeling like horrible, I'm like, no, it's fine. It's fine. It is what it is. I tried to rectify it, but it is what it is. So driving away, I'm thinking, I'm going through my mind, who is Marcus and what's going on? Like, coming into this whole thing, as I'm doing research on him, and he's walking all these miles, and like, that's super cool, super Forrest Gumpy, like, that's cool for mental health. And I'm like, I don't understand though. What does that have to do with mental health awareness? So I just never got there, and I wanted to get there. Like, help me understand why this is going to help mental health awareness.
Yeah.
It's not connecting for me. To me, you're just walking by yourself. You have no obligations to anybody or anything, which to me, yeah, you might be carrying a physical load of 70, 80 pounds. It's like, okay, I would much rather that than go home to 6 kids and a wife that I have to appease, put food on the table, and actually have obligations to.
That's another question I had.
Easy.
Do you know what his family status is?
I don't think he has children.
We don't know anything else besides what we just saw.
Yeah, no. I'm pretty sure he has no family. In our conversations, he has no family.
Okay.
Like, that's what I understood.
Okay.
But he can correct us. I mean, if he ever sees this, he can correct us. He probably will,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Do you know?
Hopefully he does.
Do you know how long he had been out of the Legion at this point?
No. So in the first time around where I realized the audio had wasn't recording, he had just told me a story about he got kicked out of the Legion, but he didn't say why. He said that he alluded to, my understanding is that other people didn't get kicked out for what he got kicked out for. That he felt kind of like
Always a special circumstance kind of thing.
Yeah.
Did
you watch the interview? I mean, it's kind of like the theme here.
Yeah.
And that's another question I had. What did he do after the Legion?
So he'd been walking for 2.5 years.
Okay. So that's my thought.
That's my understanding.
This is like textbook what it seems like as someone coming out of the military, and I experienced that coming here.
Okay.
Because I left the military where there's no, you don't mess up or else you get in trouble, and you have certain standards and expectations, and there's a pecking order, and there's no excuses, right? When you come to the civilian side, things slow down a little bit and no one snaps to salute you and nobody, you don't have to ask permission to go to the restroom, things like that. And it's a different speed. So I think there might be some lingering expectations that maybe he has.
Yes, and your qualifications when you come to the job, when you walk in, aren't worn on your sleeve.
Right. Yeah, your rank is not on your collar. You're judged on what you know, not how long you've been in.
Mm-hmm.
So the expectations are much different. And I think maybe that's a little bit of where it came. Like, because if I was in a military meeting with a commander and I check my phone, like, I'm toast. I'm done. So, but it's just very much of a different setting when you're coming onto a podcast that someone's taken time out of their day as a business professional to allow you on. It's a different tone.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
irony. Did you just like, for me, I had an epiphany of the irony there. The things that he was dismissed for from the different positions that he aspired to, whether it was Legion or the police force or in school, he did to you. It was uncalled for. It was unmerited. But he was quick to do it and execute. And that's the thing that he is upset at society for. But and it's probably not a far cry to say that is not a unique situation for him, is to snap to judgment and then execute on that judgment right away, but then look at the outside world as if it's the one doing it.
Doing all the judging.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think
Do you hear the irony
Yeah, for
in
sure.
all of that?
Yeah.
Like, this guy did this beady-eyed Frenchman kicked me out because I couldn't do the physical fitness standard, and then he kind of admitted over the story he couldn't.
He wasn't in the best shape.
He wasn't actually. It wasn't actually just because this guy didn't like his skin color or his nationality, and then he got in shape, and then they let him in, but he still didn't like this beady-eyed Frenchman because this guy like snapped to judgment in the exact same way, but even as for even a lesser incident than a phone ring.
I think, and I might be completely wrong. Like I'm saying, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't hold anything against him. I hope everything goes well with his mission.
Oh, I
Coming into this,
I don't either. I feel sorry for him, quite frankly.
Yeah, Martine pulled up his webpage, and so this is as little as I looked at. I used AI really quickly, to like summarize things for me and give me some ideas.
Okay.
But I saw that donate button, and so I'm like, okay, so he's asking for money for this cause. Okay, that's the whole context that I had coming into this. So my goal was to get him some money through his donate button, for his cause. But I don't know what the cause really is. I don't understand it. I think it's awesome that, he's done what he's done, that he's continued doing
What
it.
page are we on here? Are we looking at his mission page?
This is his website. Yeah.
Who am I? March of the Warrior.
So coming into this, I'll give you a little context. Like, I did very little research because, again, it's a holiday, and I got this call, 7:00 at night on New Year's Eve while I'm walking out the door, and so that he might be on my show, and it still wasn't like solidified that we were even going to do this. I was just going to show up at 10:00. He might be here, he might not, and so I went through the website, I went through the social, really quickly, using AI, and as I'm reviewing things and stuff, and as he's talking about his mission, I thought to myself, I don't get it. Like, wouldn't you do more good? I had the thought, I feel like, and maybe I'm an idiot, but this is just Adam Hansen, brain. I was thinking, I feel like I could do more cause for good, getting married, having children of my own, teaching those children like about mental health awareness and being good citizens in my community, being a good citizen myself in my community, and do a lot more good that way. Wouldn't that be the best way to do good for a cause, is to get involved in your community and live your life in a good way, to cause ripple effects in other people's lives? Or is it walking from North Canada to Florida and then over to the Pacific coast, stopping along the way here and there, and affecting communities that nobody knows about, right? You guys had no idea this guy existed.
Right.
So I'm not saying that to be derogatory. I'm just asking the question. What's the best way to
What's the
affect the
best
way
use of your
change?
time? Yeah.
So I get the impression, having gone through the mental analysis of all this, I'm like, as I'm putting Marcus together and I'm hearing everything he's telling me at the very end of it, and in the very end, I just feel like he's still running. He's running from something, and this cause, is his mission in life. I think he said he felt like God told him to do this. I just really wish we could have got there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I think there's better ways to do it. I think God would rather you just settle down somewhere, get a job, make a difference in your community that way, and live your life in a good way, rather than just walk indefinitely. Because he doesn't have to compete with. I think what we saw there was like he has nobody to challenge him or pull him out of his ownness, his own self, his own. It's all about him.
The bubble of reality that he's created for himself.
And that's what happened. You see him he got triggered by my trying to talk to my phone or my wife, and I'm like,
You weren't even really talking to her. You looked at your phone.
Yeah,
let's be
because it
clear
was
what
vibe.
happened.
She'd called twice already, and I had my
Glanced
phone
at
right
your
here. So
phone
that was the
screen.
third time. I'm like, when your wife calls 3 times, you have to react.
And
right?
he doesn't have that experience.
He has no
because
idea, yeah.
He's not married.
Kids, like.
and-
And usually when you get that call, it's like, I'm on my way to the emergency room.
Right,
This is
something
what
happened.
right?
Yeah.
You just had that last night.
I did. Yeah. I
Did you really?
Yeah. And my daughter got hurt on a trampoline, and I had to go respond to that. So
Yeah, but
anyway,
he
it
didn't know
happens. It happens on a drop of a hat. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
And he just doesn't have that life
that.
experience.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't judge him at all. Like, I understand his point of view, and I totally get it. And from his point of view, it was completely unprofessional for me to.
Oh, I have
check my phone.
no doubt that he feels that way.
Sure.
The problem is that's not reality.
Yeah,
And
subjective versus objective.
That's where my sympathy comes in, is because the more in tune we are with what is actual reality, the better we are at being able to adapt to it and be productive in the world that we live in. Yes, the world is a messed up place. It was not created to be this perfect Garden of Eden forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was created to test us and to see how well we would do in this messed up circumstances that we're placed in. But you've got to understand that people are not going to, God included, cater to your whims. And to the point that you earn certain levels of respect as far as time and audience goes, then you can require that of a podcast host or even somebody like professionals, but like a Joe Rogan, right? And if he's interviewing, he gets Trump on, he gets Musk on, he gets all these huge names on, and their time frames are incredibly razor thin, so he knows, but he's able to conduct those interviews and with a little bit of grace and a little bit of understanding.
Mm-hmm.
But this individual, I don't think has come to grips with the fact that society is not going to bend a knee to him, no matter what he accomplishes. He can walk 27,000 kilometers. That's something I'll never do, and that's an amazing feat. But he could be the president of the United States and probably still not demand the type of respect that he thinks he's entitled to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It reminded me of A Few Good Men.
Yeah.
I don't give a what
Yeah.
you think you're entitled to.
Yeah. Colonel Jessup. Did you order the code red?
Colonel Jessup. Did you order the code red?
Yeah.
Yep. That's such a good
Great movie.
scene. Good
Great
movie,
movie.
great scene. Anyway, I need to bow out.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Next time, if you wouldn't check your phone so much, we could have got done a lot earlier.
Yeah. Thanks.
Alrighty. Well, I'm glad you watched that, Sean. I was nervous about it. I don't know why.
It was.
I thought you were gonna just kill me. Like, you are so unprofessional. I cannot believe you did that.
Well, I've been checking
have
my phone
solely to my
throughout.
name
Yeah.
and the name of our firm.
No, that's funny. Did you really think that?
Yeah. Oh, we gotta go. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, bye.